Hi everybody, and welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And of course it's just me, Oberon, doing my emotional exchanges. It's my weekly look for every sign of the zodiac, a brief look, 2 cards. I tell you kind of like what are your emotional opportunities, and then I pull another card, and that card represents the energy needed or the action required, I guess. The action required. The action required. So today, we're post-Halloween, but it's still the season of the witch, and I'm going to use the Horror Tarot, and that's not to be confused with Todd Alcott's Horror Tarot, which I also own. It's more of an homage to pulp kind of influences. This is a little bit more subtle and yet nice. The art is from the same artist that did the Dark Wood Tarot. Both of these decks we use a bit on our regular live stream. So anyways, like I said, here we go. I'm using this, and we're going to start off with Aries. And these readings are good Sun, Moon, and Rising. So if your rising is Aries or your Moon, you still may get something out of that by listening to this. Take from it what you can. Okay then. Okay, so the emotional challenge or opportunity that is coming, and it's the reversed Ace of Cups. And you may have to consider waiting on something, a delay that's going on, or it could be worse. It could be signifying maybe something that really puts a disruption in a relationship or changes the status quo of a relationship. So what is that action required? It's the Five of Cups upright. So the challenge is that maybe there's something that is disrupting, delaying, or throwing off the course of a relationship, or maybe it's actually breaking up. And the energy required says you may have to understand that and realize you are taking from it what you can, and that something is still remaining. You need to be aware of that. Maybe you're not at this moment, but it is not a total loss. Even for Aries, who has to win everything, don't feel bad. You still have something. All right, so then we're going to do Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Whoops. All right, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. the emotional challenge or opportunity coming it's the Lovers. It's the upright Lovers. You have a choice. Could be a choice that has a number of implications for you. I'll get to that in a moment. So the next card, though, is that action required. And it's the Five of Pentacles upright. So the challenge or opportunity says it's both. You really could have it all. I mean, you could have it all in your choice. You can't have them both choices. But choosing of this really does bring a superb quality, Taurus, of sensuality either way, I think. And that if there are moral ramifications, you know, this is more pure, this is more evil, anything of that binary or dichotomy, it may not be really in your mind to look at it that way. But the energy required says that maybe you do need to view this more from the outside in some way, or that in fact there is something that maybe says you should avoid this choice or avoid going down this road to some degree, and that you may have to think out of the box in a way to sort of view it from an outside point of view in order to really understand the choice and the consequences. That was Taurus. So we're going to move on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. It's the reversed Queen of Swords. And it's the reversed Magician. I didn't show that one that well. The reversed Queen of Swords. The opportunity coming says, or challenge says, you have to make a choice, Gemini, and possibly the choice is important enough to realize that emotionally speaking, you'd rather not, mostly because it's a harsh choice. But having said that, you also feel at the same time you're able to deal with the ramifications, or you feel that way. You're able to take that on, Gemini. You're able to maybe stand above or around it. The action required for this, so I guess if you figured it out or not, is that maybe you need to understand if this totally is enacting from your will, or if you are being manipulated, or you're just not understanding totally enough of a full picture maybe to make more of an informed choice, and that maybe this is saying some trickery comes on your part to maybe compensate, or some trickery is involved in this challenge for you, whether it's coming from yourself or somebody who is a stakeholder there. From an emotional point of view, it sounds like it's a courtship or a relationship battle of sorts, a test of wills. The Queen of Swords and the Magician are worthy components in the test of will, but both of them are reversed, suggesting either they're not totally on top of it or they don't care what the ramifications could be. Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Card 1, King of Swords, upright. Card 2, Four of Pentacles, upright. So the opportunity coming to you is a choice, of course, and it's a choice maybe that within a relationship or context, you're probably expecting to show your fairness, but ultimately your need or ability or willingness to make a decision. Maybe it's one that you're involved in, but it seems, in my opinion, because this is relationships we're talking about, something that you are also just, a side-by stakeholder, and that this could involve somebody else. Now, the action required maybe is that you hold it within, that maybe you don't reveal everything you're doing here, or maybe it says that maybe you should meter the amount of your involvement emotionally or supportive-wise, Pentacles here, that maybe if there is fairness you're going to pursue or be persuaded to pursue in a relationship or emotional activity, you might have to hold on and let things go their own way, or conversely understand this could happen anyway. And that was Cancer. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Leo, fire sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And once again, I'm using the Horror Tarot. I was looking for the author and I can't find it. It's by Insight Editions. It's sort of like a dark Disney deck. It sort of is fantastical, but in a kind of gothic, darker way. The embossing of reddish silver tones are nice, but it's a little hard to read from my eyes, my alien eyes. Anyways, it's a delightful deck. I do like it anyway. So, card 1 for Leo. And it's the Hierophant reversed. And then card 2 for Leo is Judgment reversed. So the challenge or opportunity, emotionally speaking, is the Hierophant reversed, and that maybe you have to understand things are not totally in a way that you feel was conventional about relationships or about, society, and that some things are really going to kind of break out into their own medium. And it doesn't mean it's chaos, but to you it may represent something that you're not used to dealing with emotionally, or maybe, that's not the way you're going. Maybe you are going that way, that in order to really represent yourself, you have to challenge yourself to be unconventional, to be yourself. But the energy that is required, Judgment reversed. Yeah, it's not justice, it's Judgment reversed. Says there are ways to adapt to this that you haven't really considered, and that you really need to, that there are maybe factors involved. I would suggest that for Leos, this says really there's some inner work to be done here. It could be shadow work, but it's definitely inner work. It's looking at what's going on in terms of, your needs to express yourself or express your needs, but also what you're neglecting too, maybe. Kind of a paradox, but that's Leos. I mean, like many of the signs, there can be these two really strong parts, and that sometimes finding the liminality within that sign is hard. I'm going to move on to Virgo. I have more astrological kind of training or knowledge resources than the average person. But I still would say if you're like not understanding what I'm talking about here astrologically, by all means, see if you can reach out to someone who knows more, or who can show you where to find out more. So that was Leo, and I said Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's the upright Knight of Pentacles. Card the first. Card the second. Is the reversed Ten of Cups. Oh, Virgo. Oh, Virgo. The challenge coming is to be strong and be consistent in your movement. Knights are moving towards a goal. There's an idea here that even though we're talking about the emotional challenge are coming, that it's a grounding oneself, Virgo. This is really appropriate for Virgo in a way, in practicals, procedurals. And so the challenge seems to be like either you need to decide if those are working, or to actually commit yourself to doing those. But the energy required is the Ten of Cups reversed. And maybe it's saying you're bucking family or love that is around you in a way. You're bucking the emotional support team. I don't know. This one's a little hard to figure. Could it be that you have to go forward maybe in a manner that somebody doesn't want? Somebody wants you to move faster on something, and I think you're sticking to that, and that's why they're kind of hedging behind you on whether they'll support you or not. Or you have to understand that maybe ultimately a part of this goal doesn't really bring you towards your happiness that you want to feel. I'm going to leave it with that. And from Virgo, we move to Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Our first card for Libra is the King of Cups upright. Our second card is the Six of Cups upright. The emotional challenge is finding somehow within yourself, Libra, a font of love and a font of compassion and benevolence that you really want to be, if not because you can give this where you need to give it or where you would like to give it or where you know you have to give it. And maybe for Libra, that isn't easy to be that person. I'll just say that because, a lot of Libras struggle with the idea that they epitomize a level of fairness, but a level of discretion or introspection even. So they sort of can fall out of touch with their emotionality. This is saying this challenge is coming that will bring you back to that. The energy required is think about what made you happy in the past. Where was your love in the past? Even if it can no longer be present now, thinking of it as that memory, or finding the ways to bring that memory back into your life. Maybe there is something about this that says you need to find where that love was or went to and bring it back. Libra. So now we'll move to Scorpio. And Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. First card is the reversed Four of Wands. That was the emotional challenge or opportunity. The second card, the action required, is the reversed Two of Cups. Okay, that's kind of wow. But I guess your opportunity revolves around the fact that there's something going on that maybe celebrates your home, but maybe it's reversed. So it almost feels like there's a process of being selective or making it smaller. making it maybe more inclusive. So maybe we're looking at the idea of something that celebrates a life, a home life, a foundation, but maybe narrowing some of those details a little bit. And is that because the action required is that there's a relationship that no longer generates harmony and trust, and somehow you have to filter all that through that relationship? And gosh darn if that doesn't sound scorpionic, trying to work with people that don't want to get along, or people that you decide you can't get along with, but you still have some stake in maintaining the relationship. I'm sorry, that's so Scorpio. Well, good luck with that. That's all I can say. Hey, I just threw myself under the bus with that one. Scorpio. Let's move on to Sagittarius. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Another fire sign, so we're starting that last round of the elementals. 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water, but 3 grades of them, 3 modalities. All right, Sagittarius. Oh, okay, shuffle over, break. Our first card, Sagittarius, is the Chariot upright. The emotional challenge or opportunity is to find your goal and your motivation and your driving energy or force to move you towards your emotional goals, if they're a relationship or something you really care about. The energy required is the Ace of Pentacles. And I think this says really that the path to love is founded with a lot of material ideas attached to it. And so this could be saying, this is, literally the beginning of something. So maybe it's the beginning of gift giving. And of course, Christmas season approaching, the holiday season. So Sagittarians, if you are possibly challenged with, working your way into courtships or relationships or emotional goals, required more motivation, a part of this maybe is about also what you bring, what you generate, and I think in practical terms, that's a gift. That's a box of candy. That's dinner. That's various gifts. Okay. We'll move on to Capricorn. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Capricorn, you have the 4 of Wands too, only yours is upright. That's kind of Capricornian when you think about it. Your emotional challenge is also maybe about celebrating what's going on in the home, magnifying it. The action required is the upright 6 of Wands, and maybe this is saying to be a winner, you have to act like a winner. To be a leader, you have to be a leader. this could be about saying bringing recognition to either yourself or someone that matters over here. If the challenge, the opportunity required is maybe creating that unified home front or that emotional foundation that everyone plugs into, that home. And you know, the holidays always kind of engenders that feelings over here in this part of the world, perhaps the approaching holiday season. But you have to be magnanimous and realize maybe that the limelight has to shift to that other quantity once in a while, or be shared. Capricorn. So let's move on to Aquarius. Sun, moon, or rising. And I'm using the Horror Tarot again. I chose this tarot because to me November is absolutely, you know, at least a part of it, the season of the witch. So I wanted that kind of darker theme. And there's something that's semi-gothic, semi-whimsical, moody about this particular deck. So I felt like it does have an emotional feel to it that has a little bit of darkness there for us. All right, so this is Aquarius, and oh, I'm sorry, Aquarius, but you have the Tower reversed, and the emotional challenge is to realize that maybe you have to learn from a mistake rather than just repeat it with some other scenario going on. This could be saying that there's a karma or there's a thing, a pattern. You're stuck in, Aquarius, and you don't realize that when you challenge something, maybe in a relationship, and there is falling that apart, you know, because maybe reasons, you have to learn certain lessons from that, or else you're just going to make that same mistake again. So relationships that end epically need process. What is the action required? Focus. It's the Seven of Cups reversed. And it is saying, find and focus the lesson that you can't, or that you've been avoiding, or that you've been in denial of. Aquarius, I'm sorry. You're smarter than that, so come on. Let's have Pisces. Bring it, Pisces. Sun, moon, and rising. Pisces. You know, the upright Queen of Swords. I know I think the first sign, Aries, might have had the reverse one. Your second card is the reverse Knight of Cups. He said, Pisces, in a relationship, your challenge is really to make the right decision, to make a strong decision, not to make a weak one or one that differs, stranger changes your agency, Pisces. Because you know, sometimes that could be a question. the action required then is to maybe move away from something that is emotionally become reluctant or painful. The Knight of Cups could signify an end of a relationship. It could signify that you yourself no longer feel right about a relationship, and so that's the challenge, Pisces. You have to be strong. Oh, I'm sorry about that. But Pisces, you have to be strong. Figure out what kind of decision you have to make. All right, everybody. So that was the emotional exchanges. And while I'm here, I'm just going to briefly mention the shows. Tomorrow, Happy Hour will be on at its normal time. You know, it's been a long week. Come to Happy Hour. You don't get to ask a question, and we don't get to do anything other than give you one card with a happy, divine, uplifting message, whatever you want to take from that. That's from 10 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, 10 to 11 a.m. in the morning. I do have to go to work that afternoon, so there won't be any great overtime. Sunday brings Banshee's Material Matters, and it's a show like this one that maybe gives you a blow-by-blow for the signs of the zodiac and tells you what's going on the next week in the realms of finance and material matters, education, and things like that. Your keys to success. And we are also live for that recording, so we can actually chat about other things going on or aspects of the reading. Sunday afternoon, we will be here for our regular live stream. That's from 2 to 4 p.m. All of these times, by the way, are Eastern Standard Time. And that ends our week. Another week will begin, and we'll see you next time. So take care, everybody. Bye.